Hi, I'm here to talk to you about geography at Trinity Academy Bradford in Year 9 and at GCSE. In Year 9, we look at 6 different topics, starting with how extreme our world is, looking at polar opposites, looking at cold environments and hot environments. We then look at how the world is becoming more risky, looking at volcanoes, tropical storms and wildfires. We then look at how the planet is becoming more globalised, more interconnected, and how that creates winners and losers for the planet. So, for example, we look at India as a country that's developing. We then look at how our climate is changing, look at the processes that are making our climate warmer and more extreme. We then look at 2 resource issues. So we look at global resources, looking at things like microplastics and the impact that it's having on the ocean. And then we look at water as a resource and how water is utilised across the planet. At GCSE, from year 10, we look at we follow the EdXL specification A, and we look at 3 different papers. Paper 1, which will be sat at the end of Year 11, is called The Physical Environment, and that has 3 sections. Section 1 is looking at the changing landscapes of the UK, and we look at the overall changes to the environment in the UK. We look at coastal landscapes and processes, looking at different coastal landforms and the conflicts that occur at the coast. We then look at river landscapes and processes. In section B, we look at weather hazards and climate change. So we look at things like tropical cyclones and their formation and the impact that they have. We look at drought in contrasting environments, and then we look at the impacts of climate change. In section C, we look at ecosystems, biodiversity and management in 2 different forests. So we look at tropical rainforest and the deciduous woodland. Paper 1 looks something like this. There is a mixture of short questions. The longest question you'll write is an 8-marker that will be an evaluate or an assess question, and then there are questions that are 1, 2, 3 and 4 mark questions. It's an hour and a half paper worth 94 marks, and it will be sat in the summer of Year 11. Paper 2 then looks at changing cities. We look at 2 different types of cities. We look at urbanisation in the developing world, so we look at Mexico City. We look at the impact that migration has, the impact that the rapid population growth has on the city, so looking at squatter settlements and drug gangs. And then we look at the urbanisation of a UK city, looking at Manchester. In section B, we look at global development, we look at the underdevelopment across the world, and then we look at a case study of India as an emerging country and how that's developing. And then finally, we look at resource management, we look at resource management as a whole, and then we look at a depth study of water. Again, it's an hour and a half paper, it's 94 marks, and it'll be sat in Year 11. Then finally is paper 3, which is called Geographical Investigations, looking at fieldwork. That 2 pieces will be conducted across the course of the course. 1 will be to Sheffield, and then 1 will be to Ilkley to collect river measurements. So each of these sections look at fieldwork. So we've got section A that looks at physical fieldworks, section B that looks at human fieldwork, and section C, which is UK challenges, which will be taught in a synoptic way across the whole course. There are lots of careers that geography could lead to, and I won't read them all out, but there is a large variety of different careers that geography could be applied to and could be part of. Thank you very much for listening.